Before we get into today's show, we are 104 subscribers, for now at least, away from 212,000 here on the Cowboys Report. You subscribe for free. You get free Cowboys videos each and every single day. What are you waiting for? Hit that sub button right now. Offseason workouts are underway here for the Dallas Cowboys. They begin on April 14th today, Monday. OTAs run from May 19th to the 20th, 22nd, 28th, and 23rd. Into June 2nd to the 3rd and 5th. Minicamp is on June 10th to the 12th. We are in what is called Phase 1 right now. That is the first 2 weeks of the offseason workout program. This is, you can do coach and player meetings. You can do strength and conditioning stuff, which hopefully you've been doing on the side already on your own. And rehab work is available. So it starts. It's like syllabus week. You're not actually doing anything of note. But of note, Micah Parsons is present for the voluntary stage of these workouts, which is exactly what the Cowboys wanted, by the way. Micah has said he wants to be a leader. He wants to be more involved. He wants to be, the guy on defense, taking over for the departed DeMarcus Lawrence, which doesn't sound like everyone was too mad about in the end. And these voluntary things, they are voluntary, but they help with that. It's a little bit hard to be the leader if you're not there in the end. And there had been doubts about whether or not Micah, despite him saying he planned on it, was going to be there because of the contract situation. Now, in theory, this helps get a deal done. This helps the Cowboys go, okay, you're doing the leadership stuff we asked / basically publicly demanded you to do. It's also the Cowboys. So, who's to say if it'll actually get done at the proper timing and everything that you would normally anticipate with what it should be done. This is not a challenging deal to do. It's actually pretty easy to do. It's kind of already partially done, but it's not fully done yet. And until it is, then there's no deal, right? So will a Micah Parsons deal get done before the 2025 NFL Draft? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Now, as a reminder, and then we'll talk other offseason workout stuff here, the Micah decision pool is still available. You pick the date Micah signs or is traded. You can go to chatsports.com/Micah to see all the entries and dates so far. Venmo me at WhatGoingDowney, $5 to enter, and the winner will get the 50-50 split the pot. Take home, next one will bring it up to 10. I want to get that maybe a 0 tacked on there. You pick the date Micah signs. It's at WhatGoingDowney, $5 for the Venmo entry. Let's talk Dak Prescott here. Update on this front. He expects to be involved in some capacity as off-season workouts begin. Again, there's not that much actually going on, but this is what Dak said. This actually dates back to Friday with where he's at coming off the torn hamstring. I'm getting close to where I want to be. I don't want to put a percentage on it. We've got team activities coming up. Imagine myself being involved in some sort, if not all. But then again, understanding my age, what I went through, not going to rush anything. I'm where I want to be. If I had to play a game today, I could definitely do that. Frankly, there has been some bad reporting on the Dak Prescott injury. There were, and even just outright miscommunications of ESPN, for some reason said 8-month recovery timeline, which didn't make any sense. And then there's been might not be ready for week one. Now there's no threat of missing actual time that matters here. Florio was wow, must have been a bad hamstring. He's not 100% yet. Duh! We knew it was bad when it happened. That's why he didn't play all year. We know it was not a good it wasn't a normal hamstring injury. It's the Tyron Smith one where the tendon comes off the bone. That takes months of recovery. And given the fact that it is April, and if this happened in August, it might have been a different conversation of a timeline return. But it's April. You just be patient with it. Now, in general, what is your confidence level in Dak Prescott's health? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. I don't think it should be a very high number. This injury history with Dak, which, I guess you can argue some of them are freak injuries, but if they keep happening almost every single year, then that's a pattern and a trend that is worrisome. This has been my number one concern for several years now. It's Not like Dak doesn't try to take care of his body, but I watched Romo go through it. Sometimes the body just fails you. Look, there's no game to play for months right now. There's no reason to rush things back right now for Dak Prescott. He has been doing stuff. Like, he's been throwing. He's been training. Like, it's not like he's like, oh, he's just now off the crutches. No. He's in a good spot. But, like, pitch count is like the expectation you would expect here. Again, it's phase one. Like, there's really not that much to do at the moment. You're in there for meetings. You do some strength and conditioning stuff. You do your rehab stuff. There's just not much physical activity to undergo right now. But they're not going to rush him back, and this will also give them maybe more chances to try to evaluate the upcoming backup quarterback battle between Will Grier and Joe Milton. Today's show is made possible by GameTime. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. You can find, it can be tough for the Mavs, for being honest, to actually have a playoff game, but Rangers tickets are available. Plenty of concerts, comedy, theater, etc. in the Dallas area, plus Cowboys games down the line. Get to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. Zone deals help you save even more. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings. And the Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app today, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. I want to mention the NFL/Dolphins-specific trade rumors that are now out there, because they could impact the Cowboys directly, or maybe more likely, via, this means this team doesn't have a cornerback need. Now the Dolphins need a receiver or whatever. This was from our friend of the show, Pretty Ricky, Slick Rick, now as he goes by, who has been inconsistent up and down. Actually, hasn't had great stuff with the Cowboys in particular. It's the other stuff that he's done a really good job with. He claimed, this was 3 days ago, big trade for the Dolphins. Dolphins are trading away an all-pro player. Now, look, two things. A, intentionally vague. But now, with that said, there's only a couple of people that this could potentially refer to. Ricky's had his misses. Was several days ago. There was one of the really good Dolphins reporters who acknowledged this. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But everyone kind of assumed, okay, this is Tyreek Hill, right? Because it's Tyreek Hill. He's been doing this for months now. Constant drama around Tyreek Hill. He says he wants out of Miami. Says he doesn't want out of Miami. Makes posts saying goodbye on social media. Does TikToks of what a potential trade reaction would look like. It's all kinds of nonsense. Which, honestly, kind of turns me off. I don't want to deal with that. That's not fun, right? Tyreek Hill is a dynamic football player, ignoring the off-the-field stuff. The money is probably the single biggest issue. It'd be 1 year, $27.65 million, or, 2 years, and you start to really begin to approach the, $40-ish million, $35, $40 million mark. There's just kind of becomes a lot to pay Tyreek Hill contract-wise. Dolphins don't save anything. 1 year, $27.65, or 1 year, $15 in 2025, plus $39 in 2026, or cut him in 12, and then you're still at the 1 year, $27.6. It just kind of, it's a lot to pay for a team that doesn't like paying a lot to outside people. Now, of note, might actually be Jalen Ramsey that is in reference to, and not Tyreek Hill, which is Barry Jackson, who was one of the best sports reporters out there for Miami, like Dolphins and Miami in general, was asked about it. Says, you mean one person's report? And then Ricky said, no, I'm a dog, not a person, which was kind of funny. He's referring to a guy you wouldn't expect. No, not confirmed. But it does imply that there is some truth to this. That it's not done. That's always been Pretty's thing. He kind of jumps early on it. Jalen Ramsey would be the one that we don't expect, because he has not publicly demanded a trade. But he is an all-pro player who, this is the one I would have more interest in. I would love Jalen Ramsey on this team. You can finally fix the Yeah, I wanted Ramsey real bad when he was coming out of Florida State. The issue you're into here is, again, the money. Dolphins lose cap space by trading him. $12.5 million. That's a lot of money. The Cowboys, the new team, wouldn't owe him that much. It's actually less than what they would owe to Tyreek Hill. And you could cut him after a year if you wanted to. But the money involved is expensive. I'm also very curious, what the Ramsey trade package would be. I don't think Tyreek would be that much with all the drama. Ramsey was shipped out for a third and a tight end 2 years ago. I don't think they get that much more back this time around. So if you could trade for one of those two guys, who would it be? JR for Jalen Ramsey, TH for Tyreek Hill. I will say this, though. The funniest outcome is the Dolphins just trade their punter, who technically is an all-pro. Jake Bailey was an all-pro back in 2020 with the Patriots. That'd be really funny and technically correct. I don't think Al Kingold was an all-pro either. Look, in the end, this could impact the Cowboys if Dolphins trade away Tyreek Hill, they might take a receiver at 12. If they trade away Ramsey, they almost have to take a corner at 13, which would be like a Will Johnson or a Jahdae Barron, which, again, would impact what the Cowboys look to do there at 12 or trade down, whatever. But this one definitely comes with a grain of salt attachment.